What's good, YouTube? Casey the Quiet Warrior here. Today's video, by the title, we're going to talk about how to stop overthinking. And this is something that I deal with, I want to say necessarily on a daily basis. Uh, Not as much as I used to, but it's more prevalent during school. But I honestly grew out of it, but it still lingers around, and it comes from time to time. But I'm gonna talk about, how to stop overthinking and how to overcome that. And so I have 4 tips to talk about. Number 1, learn to live in the present and don't worry about the past or the future. When you're in the present, you're just going about your life. You're living your life. Whatever happens, happens in that moment, and you're solely focused what's going on in that moment. Whatever, is going on around you, you know, in front of you, things like that. Whatever is happening and taking place within front of you or around you, you want to be in that state. Just be present with your mind, your body, and everything that's going on in that moment. You don't want to be thinking about the future or the past, because then that leads to scenarios and outcomes that you start to put in your head. And I'm going to talk about that in another tip. But when you think about the past and the future, that's overall the kickstart of how you start overthinking, because you're worrying about an event that either already happened or didn't even take place yet. So therefore, you don't even know what's really about to happen. And then that's the thing that really starts and kickstarts overthinking. That's why you want to stay in the present. So therefore, whatever happens, happens. You're in that moment. You're not worried about different events. You know what I mean? Number 2, learn to accept the decisions that you make. Everybody, it's just common sense. Everybody thinks about something, before they decide to do it. Maybe not all the time, but obviously with the brain, you send neural links, the neural links to your brain, and you make that decision. And whatever that decision is, whether it be, embarrassing, good or bad, any decision that you make, learn to accept that, and to not, put yourself down or make yourself feel, guilty about the decision you made, because once you do that, you start to let go. And when you let go, there are no boundaries being placed on your mind. So therefore, you stop overthinking over and over and over again, because when you learn to accept the 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 decision that you make, and you learn to let go of that, and just know either way, either way it goes, and either decision that you made, that at the end of the day, that it won't really have too much um downsides uh towards your overall, mind and thing like that. But just learn to let go of that, and learn to be okay with that. Necessarily, just with, any decision that you come to overthink, especially if it's something embarrassing, learn to just accept that, because nothing, bad will happen to you in return. You'll still be okay and things like that. Just learn to let go of that, because 9 times out of 10, it really doesn't matter unless it's a bad situation. So I kind of want to take that back. But as far as, anything embarrassing or something like that, just learn to accept it. Number 3, understand that nobody cares unless you think they do. So, and this is a lot of thing. This is really a thing that resonates with a lot of people, and it's kind of the crazy part about it, because when you're constantly overthinking, you're always in your head, which leads you to worrying about different things that, like I said, haven't even take place yet or happened in the past. So, that can also involve people. So you may be thinking about, a decision that you make to interact with somebody, or how people will view you as a person. But 9 times out of 10, nobody really cares, because like I said in the previous video, a lot of people are so self-centered on themselves, they won't even take the time out of their day to acknowledge you or see what you have going on anyway. So even if, you, like I said, you did do something embarrassing, or did something, stupid decision or something like that, 9 times out of 10, nobody's gonna care, because people are self-centered on themselves and are really only caring about what they have going on in their lives, and not really paying mind to what other people have going on. And the fourth and final tip is to stop worrying about the outcomes. And this is the key factor and the main contributor of overthinking, because overthinking really roots from, like I said, thinking about event that took time in the past, or an event that you may be thinking about in the future which hasn't happened yet. So they really stem from events and outcomes that you put up in your mind. And when you think about outcomes, you're overall just going to set a mental barrier on yourself, because you're thinking about something that hasn't even happened in real time yet. You have to understand that it is all in your head, and that you can't control that. You cannot control that. Whether something bad happens, whether something good happens, either way it goes, you can't control those things. That's why it's so important to be present, because that's the main thing right there. Because when you're in the present, there's nothing to block you. There's nothing to set that mental barrier on yourself. You're just focused on what's going on around you in that moment. So when you're worried about outcomes and scenarios, you're just gonna be more susceptible to go over and over and over and over and over and over those things again, because you mentally are thinking that these things are gonna happen, whatever situation that may be. You are thinking that this outcome will happen without it even taking time in real place yet. So you have to let go of that. You have to let go of that, and understand whether or not, even if that outcome is a possibility, or, comes to reality. But 9 times out of 10, that's not even the case, because, like I said, you can't control that. You can't control that. You don't know that. That's why you have to stay in the present. You can't dictate, events that happen in the past, or an event that, may happen in the future, because you don't know. You know what I mean? You can't control that. And you have to let go of that, because like I said, you're just thinking of something that you're mentally thinking that's going to happen, but you don't know that because it hasn't taken place in real time. So Just take away those things from what I'm saying, and just learn to overall let go. That's the main thing. Just overall let go of this stigma, and let go of the mental barrier that you're placing on yourself, because 9 times out of 10, these things that you are thinking in your head that are going to happen, or what you may think is bad because of the scenario or outcome that you put in your head, 9 times out of 10 they're not even a big deal, because they don't end up happening in the first place anyways. So learn to let go and to be in the presence. That's the main thing to take away and to work on. That's the main key contributor to stop overthinking. Take that away from this video. Stay in the present and don't worry about the outcomes, because you don't know whether or not that's going to happen or not, because it hasn't happened in real time.